So today I want to talk to you about how to use AI to market your business. And then so to me the very first question that you should ask is why exactly am I qualified to talk to you about this particular subject related to marketing and business? And then so kind of the bottom line for you is that for over a decade or so I've been in consulting in some way, shape or form around marketing very specifically. I always gear myself and build myself as an engineer and on the IT side because that's what I build myself as far as my career, and that's what I think of myself as. But as an entrepreneur and as someone that is very business oriented and has always been business oriented, I realize that when it comes to business, no matter what your role is and no matter what your primary function is, you have to focus on sales and marketing. And I realized that very early on, and then so I focused very early on marketing because if I were to take a secondary career, I always thought it would be marketing as opposed to IT. And then so within that, it's spun off into two areas specifically within my career. The very first area is that I have a lot of independent consulting experience with regards towards brand marketing for lots of different brands, helping them in lots of different areas and roles. And then secondarily, I have about 8 years or so now of experience directly with marketing agencies, working for marketing agencies, primarily on the more technical side. But when you're working for like big, huge marketing agencies that you might have heard of in some way, shape, or form, then some of that rubs off on you is kind of the bottom line there. And then so that's what I'm here to do, to give you kind of just advice into general advice, and then I want to give you some very unique advice towards the end. So I want to give you three very unique scenarios and examples of how I am already utilizing AI. These will be real world examples of how I'm utilizing AI today for clients. And then so diving into this more specifically, the very first thing and the very first concept that I want to talk about within this is to me, we're in the same age and the same era today as we were about 25 years or so ago in the early days of the internet. So think back or imagine, if you can't think back, to the early days of the internet. And then so in this era, it was a time where everyone saw that it was a new form of revenue, but no one knew how. That was a big question. It was a big question for years. There was commercials about it, a lot of discussion and talk. A lot of people thought there's no way to actually monetize the internet. It was a big deal for a while until Amazon essentially cracked that code, right? And then as Amazon is cracking that code, and before they cracked that code, essentially a lot of companies gave their marketing power directly to Amazon. Like you look at the early days of e-commerce, and some giants like Walmart, Sears, it's gone now. A lot of companies that are gone now gave their e-commerce over and their early e-commerce over to Amazon. Like just flat out gave them the whole entire business. And then so that's one thing to look back on and reflect on. This is just kind of the history of this time, right? And then so moving forward from this development, when you look at whole categories, holistic categories of marketing segments and opportunities that didn't exist at all prior, we have SaaS, apps, and the cloud as we know it. They were all born as marketing concepts directly related to monetization of the internet. And then the last thing to note from this is that, so thinking back to this beginning era, so when search and social media ads first came out, they had a different mentality. They were thought of a lot differently than they are now, right? Now it's we're back into the same mentality of something coming along and waiting for something to come along to disrupt this monopoly that exists within the advertising industry, because so search and social media were original disruptors of traditional advertising channels because it was so expensive to advertise and because they had a monopoly. And then so now we're in the exact same situation where it's basically like Facebook, Google, or bust. And then so we're starting to see kind of a shift and just pointing this out that this is a interesting segment to pay attention to as we look back at this history of the early days of the internet. And then, so very specifically, we have our history lesson. What can we learn from these things? Number one is control every aspect of the technology that you can, and do not give up your new marketing channel before it even becomes a marketing channel. The smartest companies right now, in my opinion, that are taking advantage of these things are corporations like J.P. Morgan, some retailers. There's a lot of big companies that are investing heavily into AI. Salesforce, if you look at what they're investing into their own AI, their own products born from their own AI, and their own pipelines. They're controlling all of it, and they're building out and making sure that they control this marketing channel from day one. They've learned that lesson. Like, they're not going to give it over to Amazon this time. And then within this too, this for marketers very specifically, look to utilize this emerging channel in unique and clever ways to establish massive traction from guerrilla advertising. And then, so thinking back again to those early days of the internet, there were like Microsoft was the huge one within this. Like, Microsoft was a huge winner of guerrilla advertising during this era, and it kind of set them apart. Like, they almost built a lot of their brand during this particular era on like guerrilla advertising and utilizing it in unique ways. So for them, and in this instance, in the internet instance, it was utilizing like internet-based advertising and advertising internet-based and online-based companies and cloud-based companies on like offline, right? Like in the real world. And then, so utilizing kind of like a lot of that. And then, so whatever it is, and I'll show you again 3 examples of clever ways that I'm already utilizing it. But so whatever those unique ways are, that's what you want to take advantage of. And this particular period is going to reward that, while at the same time, traditional sales and marketing advice is going to hold more true than ever during disruptive periods. And then, so in this period of like chaos where no one knows exactly what exactly is, and when you look at the crystal ball, it's a little bit murky as to what the future is going to be, then traditional advice holds true more than anything else. It's staying the traditional, solid, and known path, and then just kind of marching forward within that, and then staying within the parameters is one of the best things that you can do within that. So the next thing I want to touch on within utilizing AI for your marketing efforts is this split and this 2 categories. And it's the split, it might be in areas and more jagged than you think, right? It's not like a straight line of what AI can easily augment versus what AI can augment, but it's going to take some effort. And then, so starting off with what AI can easily augment: copywriting, like flat out, like anything that you want with regards towards text generation, right? And then I put it in the easy category to even like fine tune a model on your own data to get it down to like your specific like language that you want to use for your copywriting, etc. Social media management, because of all of the apps that exist, things like that, is very productized and easy to utilize and augment. Audio campaigns, so audio creation, it's to the point now where you can zero shot, meaning like you just feed the model about 15 seconds of audio, and then it can clone a voice. So very straightforward there. And then image generation is as far as like the diffusion technologies, image generation is like the forefront and the leader of that technology, and it's to the point now where it's really hard to tell the difference, if at all, between AI generated images and non-AI generated images. And then, so all of those things in all those categories make it very easy. But then, so you look at the what AI can augment with some effort, and then you can see that there's some correlation here, and that's where I'll talk. You'll see kind of those jagged edges. And so The first one is that AI can augment with some effort full ad generation and placement. And then so if you look at these like social media management services, any of them that fully augment it, like the full process, it's not full AI, right? There's a lot like they're they have a software behind the scenes that's built out. Is kind of the bottom line. And then so you're still piecing together multiple pieces in order to get your like automations and your multiple step automations, and you still have it's still a lot of manual checking and a man in the middle, and then so if you're looking for full on automation, that's where you're gonna like struggle the most with your AI augmentation efforts. The next one is A/B testing and metrics tracking. And then there are tools that are developing and that are coming out that are making these things more easier and more focused. And the reason why I put this in AI can augment with effort is because, I mean, you can do this on a simple level and like just like and do faux AI. But if you want to actually do it, like the hardest part of this is the data, and that's what companies don't understand getting into it, right? They think it's cool, and then as far as the technology end, sure, I can train a model easily. I need your data, like, and then I need data that you probably don't have in the format that I actually needed in upfront, and then that's just how it goes, right? And that's what like that's the hardest part of it. And then so, and then under this is video campaigns. So you might think like, well, like audio is easy, but video is very hard. So video is not nearly as far along as audio and like pictures as far as image generation. It's getting there, and it's getting a lot better overall. But even like the best image generation models, and then these commercials that you're seeing that are utilizing audio, like AI video, for the most part, they're utilizing engines that are making 3 to 6 second clips at a time, and they're very selectively doing it. So it's hours and hours of work still. They're combining. It's not just like the models are spitting out these campaigns at this point. Not yet. Maybe a year or two. And then the next thing and the last thing that I'll talk about within this category is image editing. And then so image generation, very easy. Image editing can be hard if you want to get it, like if you're looking for very specific edits, and there's a lot of work that's going into this, but bottom line is that when you're talking about like diffusion models and how it works generally for a lot of these processes, which a lot of these like image generation and image editing processes use, the technology is hard to get it to 100% accurately replicate everything that you want to do. And there's a lot of companies that are investing a lot of money into this, like Adobe and things like that. So you're going to see efforts into it, but like it's still a little ways off at this particular moment in time. And then so now this is going to bring us into what I kind of teased at the beginning of this video, which is how you can utilize AI in very unique ways, right? Like, so harkening back to 25 years ago, if I was in this mindset 25 years ago, and which we are in this situation, how would I take advantage of it? Which I am, right? And then so these are three real world examples of exactly how I'm doing that. And so this very first one is LLM powered Reddit bots. And then so Reddit bots aren't new, right? I've known about them for like about a decade. And I haven't particularly, I've had interest in building a bot, but it hasn't like intrigued me enough to actually build one because I haven't had a use case to actually do it until recently. And then working with the client and then having to build it out and then going through and testing it out, it was a really interesting and awesome experience. And then so I learned through, it's very simple to actually build out the bots and then to go through this process. And then so, it's really simple. You just build up the bot, and then you want to augment it with code. And then in this instance, you augment it with calling. So the bot, it takes an action, and then you can have it call an LM model, and then the LM model can comment. Like you send the LM model like the actual like what the comment is. It reads it and then comments it. So you get like more humanized interaction, and it's not just like where traditional bots are like here's the result, like here's the only output that I can give, or like here's like you can like I've seen a few bots where they're like, I have like maybe like 10, 15, 20 even like randomized responses that it can utilize and it can go through. But so this is like LLM powering it, like behind it, like it's a like giving it kind of like a bigger brain, and it's really easy to do and really cheap to run. So overall, the cost, because for bottom line for businesses, that's probably what you care about the most. Like it's like $1 to $2 per hour to run this, like not expensive at all. Next one that I want to talk about is a unique product that I like. That so I recently came out have this is invite only product. It's LLM model reputation management, and then so if you're familiar with reputation management, it's just essentially like online management of your reputation, right? It's a multi-billion-dollar industry at this point. In marketing, it's like one of the fastest growing segments of marketing currently, and then so for about a year and a half or so, I've been testing around like how much do LLM models retain? How exactly can you get them to retain information? What exactly are they trained on as far as like internet data? A whole bunch of analysis and research around that, right? And then so how I've done that and handled that over the last year and a half is essentially collected a year and a half of worth of data of testing around it, understanding, refining the testing, etc. And then so I've gotten it down to the point where I can essentially offer this product, which is that I can, if you want an LLM model to understand your brand and to say certain things about your brand and to manage and control that and your essentially your narrative that LLM models and AI models will give around your brand, I can help you control that in a lot of various ways in a lot of aspects, just like you would with like traditional online reputation, like with like the online reputation management, same exact thing. And I think that as LLM models move into disrupting these markets like search and things like that, that this is going to be a huge market. It's just my opinion overall. And then the last one here is evolutionary algorithm A/B testing, and then I like this one for a few different reasons, right? And then so this one, like I for a client very specifically, it's cheaper overall, like far cheaper than an LM model for any sort of A/B testing. And then so like kind of the very first thing would be like, well, there's other services that exist, and you could utilize AI models or LM models for A/B testing. And it's like, well, yes, you can, but then it's like from a business perspective, evolutionary algorithms, what I can do with these, it's 10 to 3,000 times cheaper than utilizing an LLM for the same function. And I can show results that over time, my evolutionary algorithms are going to beat and refine and do a better job than the LLM model. So it's cheaper and better results in the end. It just requires like a little bit more fine tuning up front and understanding and like paying attention and working and finessing your data. But so evolutionary algorithms, if you're not familiar with them, they're essentially they're generational algorithms, right? So to me, it's the concept of like, do you want like one big bot and one big mind, or do you want like a bunch of like small like tiny bots that go around? And then depending on the task, you have different like there's differing opinions within that, right? And then so the advantage of the like little tiny bots is that they can evolve via generations. And then so it's let's say that you put out a generation of tiny bots, and then it's they learn and then they collect data, and then so you can put out and evolve, and then your next generation of tiny bots is evolved based off of that, right? And you keep doing that, and that's how it breaks down. And then so when you're A/B testing something, this is the perfect type of algorithm for that, because it's going to essentially give you like randomized variations all the time, and then you set a goal that you want the randomized variations to optimize towards. And then so in this instance, it works out very well for marketing, right? Because you set your goal that you want the evolutions to be off of like cost to acquire. And then so the algorithms will essentially like they'll randomize, and then so at first it's to be random, and then it's going to learn, okay, this is how I evolve for the best cost to acquire, and then evolves, meaning changing the images and then changing the copy and the text, and then and the prompts for the model, right? And then so you can automate all of like the evolution of all of that, and then tweak that, and then essentially the AI will tweak itself like a Rubik's cube until you get like that perfect evolution, right? And then it's as long it's you set that reward mechanism, so it's going to just keep driving and driving until it converges on that reward mechanism, and it's going to do it better than you can, flat out. Like you dump enough money into this, it's like the martingale strategy, like of gambling, right? Like if you have unlimited dollars, this is going to beat any other system, flat out. Like, so it's really cool on that aspect. And then so overall, hope this video has been informative for you on how to use AI, and then very specifically how to use AI to market your business. And then so if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much.